Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students of first year MBBS, let's start with the respiratory system. The main function of the respiratory system is to provide oxygen to the blood and to eliminate carbon dioxide. It has got two additional functions also, the phonation and olfaction. It is comprising of the lungs and a sequence of airways leading to the external environment. It is subdivided into a conducting portion and there is a respiratory portion. Conducting portion starts from the nasal cavity, the nasopharynx, the larynx, the trachea, up till the respiratory bronchioles. And the respiratory portion starts from the respiratory bronchioles and then there are alveoli of the lungs. So the main functions of the respiratory system are the air conduction, air filtration, gaseous exchange, sense of smell, phonation, and there are certain endocrine functions. There are cells which secrete the hormones. If we talk about the conducting part of the respiratory system, it starts from the nasal cavity. This is the nasopharynx. Then this is the larynx and trachea, the bronchi and the bronchioles. This is the conducting part of the respiratory system. Its function is just to conduct the air into the lungs. And then comes the respiratory portion of the lungs. It starts from the respiratory bronchioles. There are alveolar ducts, the alveolar sacs, and the alveoli. Here the exchange of gases takes place in the blood. So the conducting portion of the respiratory system, its parts are the nasal cavity, the nasopharynx, the larynx, the trachea, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary segmental bronchi, and the terminal bronchioles. And its function is it clean, warm, and moisten the air prior to reaching the respiratory portion. So this is the diagram which is showing you all the portions of the respiratory system. The trachea divides into two principal bronchi at the point called the carina. Then these are the primary bronchi, these are the secondary bronchi, and these are the tertiary bronchi. And these are the alveoli and alveolar ducts and the alveolar sacs. Let's start from the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity composed of two parts, the vestibule and the nasal cavity proper. And the nasal cavity proper is further divided into the respiratory and olfactory region. So this is the vestibule, this is the nasal cavity proper, and this portion is the respiratory portion. The superior part of the nasal cavity is the olfactory region. So we are talking about the vestibule of each nasal cavity is lined by skin. This area is lined by skin and it contains a lot of sebaceous and sweat glands, and it bears long thick hairs which are known as vibrissae. These hair function to filter out coarse particles from the inspired air. The nasal cavity proper, that is the nasal fossa, it is lined by nasal mucosa which shows structural specialization into two regions. The respiratory mucosa which lines most of the nasal fossa, and there is an olfactory mucosa which covers the roof. This is the part of the roof. Olfactory mucosa which covers the roof and the nasal cavity. Not only the nasal cavity, but most of the conducting division of the respiratory system is lined by pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium, which is known as the respiratory epithelium. The respiratory epithelium Under the electron microscope, it is revealed that there are 5 types of cells are present in this epithelium. There are ciliated columnar cells, there are goblet cells, and there are basal cells and small granule cells. The ciliated columnar cells are 30% of the cells, and they constitute the most common cell type. Each bears about 300 kinocilia on its apical surface. These are the cells which are having the basal bodies and the mitochondria. The goblet cells are the next most abundant, that is 30% again. The wider apical portion of these cells is filled with mucinogen granules. The goblet cells secrete mucin, which after hydration gives rise to the mucus. Mucin is a hydrophilic glycoprotein which, when combines with water, it gives rise to a gel-like substance which is called mucus. So I was telling that the most of the conducting division of the respiratory system is lined by a pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium containing a large number of goblet cells. This type of an epithelium is called the respiratory epithelium. If we see under the electron microscopes, there are 5 types of cells present in this epithelium. There are ciliated columnar cells, there are goblet cells, there are brush cells, there are basal cells, and small granule cells. The ciliated columnar cells are 30% of the cell population, and they constitute the most common cell type of the respiratory epithelium, and each of this columnar cell bears about 300 kinocilia on its apical surface, and their function is to push the mucus which is present over the surface of the mucosa, and this mucus is coming from the 30% of the other cells which are known as the goblet cells. Goblet cells, as you know, this is the unicellular gland. It is a mucus secreting cell. These are also 30% of the population. Its wider apical portion is filled with mucinogen granules, while the narrow basal portion contains the nucleus and the cell organelles. The goblet cells secrete a hydrophilic protein which, when comes out, it combines with water to give rise to a soft jelly-like material called the mucus. The brush cells are also columnar in shape, and the special feature of these cells is the presence of numerous microvilli on the apical surface. The brush cells have afferent nerve endings at their basal surfaces and are regarded to be the sensory receptors. If we talk about the basal cells, these are small conical cells, and these cells, they are resting over the basal lamina, and they do not reach the free surface of the respiratory epithelium. They are supposed to constitute a reserve of stem cells which divide mitotically and produce cells that differentiate into other cell types. So they are the stem cells. If we talk about the small granule cells, which are 5% of the population, they resemble the basal cells. Basal cells are also 5% of the population. There are numerous dense coat granules in the small granule cells, and these cells are presumed to have a neuroendocrine function, and they belong to DNES, that is diffuse neuroendocrine system of the body. This is pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium, and you can see there are cells which are of different types. There are goblet cells, there are ciliated columnar cells. These are the cilia you can see towards the apical side, and these are the nuclei of different types of cells. There are brush cells, there are basal cells, we have got the granule cells, small granule cells. I have just talked about these, and all these cells are present in this respiratory type of epithelium. The respiratory mucosa is lined by a typical respiratory epithelium, and beneath the epithelium lies a thin layer of connective tissue called the lamina propria. This layer also lodges many simple branched tubular glands of the mixed variety. The lamina propria also contains a rich plexus of blood vessels in which arteriovenous anastomosis are common. And you can see this is the lateral wall of the nasal cavity, and I have shown you by cutting the turbinates, which are also known as the conchi. There are shelf-like bones in the nasal cavity at the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. These bones are known as the inferior, middle and superior conchi, and when we cut these we will see certain structures on the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. You can see the meatus of the maxillary sinus here in the middle concha, in the middle meatus. These are known as the meatus. This is the inferior meatus, this is the middle meatus, this is the superior meatus. The deepest layer of the lamina propria blends with the periosteum of the bone or perichondrium of the cartilage, forming the walls of the nasal fossae. The mucus and serous secretions keep the mucous surface moist and also humidify the inspired air. चुनाचे नोज़ जो है ये एक एयर कंडीशनिंग प्लांट है. जब हवा इसमें से गुजरती है तो वो ठंडी होती है और उसके अंदर नमी आती है. तो चुनाचे इसका एक एक्टिव फंक्शन है. And this humidification is necessary to protect the delicate epithelium from desiccation. The mucous coat also entraps particulate matter and absorbs water-soluble pollutant gases like sulfur dioxide, ammonia and ozone. The mucus is constantly propelled by the cilia of the epithelial cells towards the pharynx, where it is either swallowed or expectorated. Blood in the vascular plexuses of the lamina propria warm the inspired air. So there is cooling effect and the heating effect. And over these turbinates, especially over the inferior turbinate, the nasal mucosa contains large venous plexuses which are called the swell bodies or cavernous bodies. Every 20 to 30 minutes, the swell bodies on one side of the nasal cavity become automatically engorged with blood, thus restricting the airflow on that side. These periodic intervals of reduction in the airflow permit the respiratory epithelium to recover from desiccation. The deepest layer of the lamina propria blends with the periosteum of the bone or perichondrium of the cartilage, forming the walls of the nasal fossae. The mucus and if we talk about the olfactory region of the nasal cavity, as I have said that the superior part of the nasal cavity, that is the portion of the superior portion of the nasal septum and the mucous membrane over the superior concha and the roof of the nose. This is the olfactory region. And this olfactory region, it is lined by the olfactory mucosa, and olfactory mucosa has got the olfactory epithelium and the lamina propria. And in this lamina propria there are serous secreting Bowman's glands, and there is a rich vascular plexus and many axons arising from the olfactory cells of the olfactory epithelium. So the olfactory mucosa is present in the roof of each of the nasal cavity, and it extends down over the superior concha and the upper part of the nasal septum. It is yellowish brown in color, in contrast to the pink coloration of the ordinary respiratory mucosa. Olfactory epithelium is also of the pseudostratified columnar variety. There are three types of cells, and these three types of cells are the olfactory receptor cells, there are sustentacular cells, and the basal cells. So this is the olfactory epithelium. You can see these are the olfactory cells, which are actually the bipolar neurons, and there are sustentacular or supporting cells, and there are small basal cells, which are again, the function of the basal cells is to produce new cells. Olfactory receptor cells are bipolar neurons possessing a cell body, a dendrite extending to the mucosal surface, and an axon which leaves the epithelial surface and enters the underlying connective tissue and joins the axons from other bipolar neurons to form the fascicles of the olfactory nerve. Olfactory nerve is the one of the cranial nerves which brings the messages from the olfaction. The olfactory receptor cells are bipolar neurons possessing a cell body, a dendrite which is extending to the mucosal surface, and an axon which leaves the epithelial surface. And it enters the underlying connective tissue and joins the axons from the other bipolar neurons to form the fascicles of the olfactory nerve. The apical dendrites are slender and pass between the sustentacular cells to the mucosal surface, where they terminate in small bulbous enlargements called the olfactory vesicles. From the circumference of each olfactory vesicle arise 10 to 20 olfactory cilia, which extend for long distances parallel to the general epithelial surface. Each olfactory cilium has a short proximal segment about 2 microns long and 0.25 micron in diameter, which tapers to a much more longer trailing portion, which is only 0.1. The olfactory cilia are non-motile and function as the actual receptive elements for the sensation of smell. A unique feature of the olfactory receptor cell is their steady loss and regeneration and replacement through the life of the person. The sustentacular cells have a striated border composed of microvilli and secretory granules. They provide the physical support and the nourishment. Basal cells are short basophilic cells. Their apical aspect do not reach the epithelial surface, and they proliferate and replace the both other two types of cells. So this is the picture of the olfactory epithelium. You can see this conical cell is the basal cell. These are the bipolar neurons, yellow in color. You can see towards the apical side there is a dendrite which has got a bulbous end, and from this bulbous end comes out the microvilli or the stereocilia, and towards its basal side there is an axon, and all these axons they unite together to give rise to the fascicles of the olfactory nerve. And these olfactory nerves, they are passing through the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. They are actually nerves. They are 10 to 20 twigs which enter through the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone and enters into the inferior cranial fossa, and they make synapses with the olfactory bulbs which are lying under the frontal lobes. This is the story of the olfactory type of epithelium.